In an organizational context, diversity refers to equality of opportunity and employment without any bias because of these traits. Indeed, it has become fashionable in the present scenario to have a diverse mix of employees drawn from all classes and proclivities so that the aura of correctness and humanitarianism can be actualized. However, this does not mean that the organizational diversity has succeeded or it has become the norm in organizations. Rather, there are many barriers to diversity, even after strenuous efforts by activists and experts, and these relate to social mindsets and personal psychological discomfort with having people drawn from diverse backgrounds working alongside. In the United States, the government encourages and mandates organizational diversity as a matter of law, and even to the extent of ensuring that a corporate not only follow the letter of the law, but also the spirit of the law. This is reflected in the Equal Opportunity Employer Law, which states that organizations cannot discriminate against potential job applicants on race, gender, ethnicity, nationality, and sexual orientation. Each of these characteristics set apart people from each other, and hence there needs to be a mindset change apart from bringing in laws that would make acceptance of diversity that much easier. In other parts of the world, diversity is not practiced in society, and let alone organizations which make a feeble attempt to enforce the rules. The reason for this is the prevailing cultural attitudes against certain sections of society, which makes it impossible for a corporate to embrace diversity, since they risk the wrath of the dominant cultural and societal groups. The point here is that when the entire society discriminates against, let's say, homosexuals or lesbians, it is indeed difficult for even the best meaning of corporate leaders to buck this trend. Hence, it needs to be remembered that organizational diversity is not only about a certain organization's policies, but also reflects the broader societal consensus on this issue. Organizational diversity, ideal versus real. As with any idealistic notion, organizational diversity exists more in theory than in practice. If the experiences of the organization in the United States and Asia are taken into reckoning, this is because the concept is good in theory, where all organizations commit themselves to employing people of all genders, classes, ethnicities, and sexual orientation. However, due to prevailing mindsets, organizations do not actually practice this ideal, and often the result is that organizations pay lip service to the ideal of diversity without practicing it. This results in the organizations proclaiming their commitment, but in a hypocritical manner, abandoning it for the sake of convenience. Furthermore, diversity also means that the employees from different orientations are treated equally with other employees, and inclusivity is practiced. Often, it is the case that employees from different backgrounds are hired and then treated shabbily because their coworkers have different views about diversity than the management. The reason for being elusive to the point so deeply is that unless mindsets change, diversity will remain a concept on paper only. Hence, the only way out for companies to embrace diversity would be to educate their employees and enforce strict codes of conduct across the organization. Only then would the employees from different orientations feel comfortable working in the company. In this endeavor, the government has to do its bit by passing and enforcing laws that take care of the rights of the differently oriented employees. Why diversity is important in organizations. With the advent of globalization, it has become imperative for organizations to have a workforce that is composed of different ethnicities, and with the maturing of the business paradigm, gender is no longer a constraint. This has prompted large-scale changes in the way organizations recruit people. Furthermore, in many countries, the laws governing a corporation have been legislated in such a way that makes the firms actively encourage diversity. For instance, the U.S. is the leading proponent of diversity with the adoption of the Equal Opportunity Act. This act mandates employers not to discriminate on any basis, be it gender, color, lifestyle preferences, or any other traits as mentioned in the act. This has given a fillip to the employment of women and people of color and has removed the barriers that were threatening to make these groups a minority in the corporate world as well.